In today's video, I will be making a game that changes genres. This means that you could be playing a first-person shooter that turns into a 2D platformer, or maybe even into a rhythm game. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. But before we begin, please subscribe. It's completely free and it would be awesome to reach 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. First off, we go to Google and find some game genres. In this case, I went with these. Okay, so my first game genre will be an FPS. For this, we need player movement, so I'm just gonna copy it from an old game of mine. Anyways, we now have movement, so we can run, walk, jump, and even crouch. Next up, we need to add the shooting part of the first-person shooter. So I modeled a basic pistol and placed it in the player's camera. I also attached a bobbing and swaying script to it, so that it looks more realistic. Now that's cool and all, but the pistol doesn't actually work. So to make it work, we need to use raycasts. This will basically draw a line from the player's gun to the center of the screen. Then when we press left click, a bullet hole will be created at the end of the line, aka in the direction that you're facing. This is essentially the entire system, but it doesn't look good. So we can add a few animations, sound effects, and particles to make it look nicer. I even created a fake bullet that will go in the direction of the line, making it look like you're shooting something. In the meantime, I also made it so you can unlock the gun. You'll be able to go up to it, pick it up, and, well, unlock it. This is because you don't want to have access to the gun near the beginning of the game. I also added some ammo in the corner, allowing the player to reload their weapon. This feature is actually slightly useless, but it's cool to have it. Now it's time for levels. I wanted to make a similar aesthetic to the Stanley's Parable, Portal, and even CSGO, and this is what I ended up making. But before I show you it, let's talk about today's sponsor, Core. Core is a free game engine where you can create, publish, and play games. It currently has over 20,000 live games such as shooters, RPGs, and more, ready for you to get into. Whether you're a complete beginner or you already have some knowledge in game dev, you can start using Core today. It's super easy to understand and get into, which is why I recommend it to beginners who want to start making games. Inside of Core, you can jump between games with no extra downloads, earn cosmetics, and maybe become the next successful developer. If this sounds at all interesting, then check out Core with the link down below and download it for completely free. So this is what I ended up making, a pretty basic map that teaches you the mechanics of the game. I ended up downloading some realistic looking textures and placing them on cubes to build this level. And I also ended up creating these graffitis to put them on the walls to teach the player the mechanics. I find that this intuitive method of learning the mechanics is a lot better than having a screen filled with the controls. But wait, oh no, we can't make this jump. Maybe we need a run-up. Once you complete these tutorial levels, I guess, you get to unlock the pistol, with which you can shoot these targets, and this will open up a wall. Anyways, you see the point. There is a few more puzzles coming up from here, but I don't want to spoil anything. Oh, but I totally ended up ripping off Portal's companion cube, and it's kinda cool. With this game finished, we can move on to the next one. For my second genre, I chose 2D platformer. Honestly, not sure why, I just felt like making one. But before we actually make it, we need a way to transition between these two games. And we could quite easily make some scene switches and some fading, but I wanted it to be more original. So I ended up creating this computer model in Blender. I made a desk because desks are cool. Anyways, I want the player to have to access the computer to play this 2D platformer game. So we can just drop an interaction script on the computer that will allow the player to interact with it. Then once accessed, we can switch scenes to the actual platformer. In this scene, I made it look like you're actually accessing the computer, and added some extra details like this taskbar and apps, which I created in Photoshop. I also made this icon, which the player will be able to click to play the game. And anyways, this is what we have. Okay, so now it's time to make the actual platformer. First, we need a player. In this case, I'll just make him a square. Now let's give him the ability to walk. To make our little square move, we can give him a rigid body and apply velocity to it depending on whether we press A or D. Now let's make him jump. Similarly to the movement, we can apply velocity to it when we press space, but this time on the vector 2 up. So now it's level time. For the levels, I ended up making just a one object linear image in Photoshop. Usually I would make separate objects and then build the level inside of Unity, but this seemed to work better for this case. Inside of Unity, I created separate colliders for the level, which took some time, but it worked perfectly. Now we need to actually allow the player to interact with this world, which means we need collision and ground detection. Unity will do most of the work, but we can create a boolean, layer mask, and a tag that will allow a player to move and jump when on this level. We can also create a small circle collider below the player to detect grounding. Next came a slightly trickier part, camera following. Making a basic camera follow script was easy enough, but we need a way to stop the camera from going too far left or too far right, as that way we will reveal the ends of the level. I ended up making it work by using a clamp that will stop the camera from moving once it reaches the edge of the level. Okay, it's now time for more levels. Once again, I created all of them in Photoshop and added colliders within Unity. With this out the way, we need a way to allow the player to go into new levels. So I just created this triangle thing that will go to the next level when collided with. To do all of the level control, we create a level manager, and inside of this we can create a new function called next level. If we keep reference to the current level we're on, we can simply just switch to the next one by adding 1 to the current level. And then just disabling some objects, enabling some new ones, and moving the player back to the spawn point. We also need a way to make the spikes actually hurt the player. So I made it that on collision, the player will be reset to the start of the level. Now there is only a few things missing. Firstly, this right now looks really terrible, but we can hide it with this glowing material. We also want to display the level that the player is currently on, and this was easy enough. At this point I had the idea of adding a timer so the player can see how long it has taken them to complete the levels. I also wanted to add it to the previous FPS game. And there we go. The timer system is really simple. Once you finish the game, it gets saved to a player pref so you can access it later. In the meantime, I also created a main menu and an end scene that will display your times. So now that the platformer is complete, what's next? Well, I actually already spent 2 weeks making this, so I'm going to leave it here, at least for this video. But I will be adding more genre changes as long as you guys want me to. So leave a like to show me that you want a part 2, I guess. I also want to address that this is sort of a demo, so it doesn't include many levels. It's more of a tester to see if people like it. You can play it with the link down below, it's completely free, so let me know what you think. And here are some awesome clips I managed to record. Also, spoiler alert, if you want to play the game, then maybe don't watch these clips. So thank you for watching, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also check out Cool with the link down below and start making games for free today. Thanks to all my Patreons and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!